Again, weapons that were favoured by the archers, less expensive than swords, are only sharpened. Well, obviously these are blunt, but only sharpened on one side. They come in a whole variety of shapes and sizes. And you read some old books and it says these were just given out to the archers who were big and strong and they were thugs, but they had no idea of technique or anything, and they didn't even bother to sharpen them, they were just bludgeoning weapons. Well, that's rubbish. I mean, that really is rubbish. I mean, if you're having a bludgeoning weapon, just have the mace or an axe or something anyway. But we've discovered these fight books that were written at the time. The earliest fight book we've got, it goes back to about 1300. There's 14th, 15th, 16th century fight books, and there are a lot for exactly this kind of weapon, this falchion, showing lots of techniques. A lot of it isn't involved with kind of going for hours on end. It gets the fight over quickly. Somebody attacks over your head, you cut straight in, and we've got a nice image there of cutting the wrist off, and the next image is the sword flying off into... Sorry?
I can bring that to life if you like.
Really?
It's even more dramatic.
All right, okay. Ready? And...
Oh no! Oh, my hand! Oh! There we are.
Excellent. There are lots of these. You can use this a bit like armour, somebody coming for your shoulder. You can simply stick the sword up in the way, gives you this hand out the way to come off and take it out off them. That works quite well. I like it when I end up with this. Hold on there. You can. There's a weird one in a German book by a chap called Hans Talhofer that shows you a parry. A parry's blocking a sword's parry with your hand completely round the wrong way. Like, well, why on earth have they done that? Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense until you start reading these books, and they're a bit like comics or graphic novels. You've got to read the kind of next page and see where the next image has got to, and if we go any other way. And this, if you block this parry with the back of the blade, it allows you to reach over the wrist with the pommel, push the elbow out, and then of course you can do whatever you like. It's quite efficient, isn't it? Works quite well. What else can we show you? Oh no!
I'm not doing that.
No. All right, okay. The German one. The German one. I promise you that this move is true. I promise you it's in the book. Nobody ever did this. I really, really doubt anybody ever did this. So the German one. He comes at you. He attacks you high. Are you ready? He attacks you high. You step in, you grab his wrist. You pull his elbow towards you, you break his elbow over your shoulder. You pull him into you, lift him up on your feet and stab him up between your legs. I swear that's true. Nobody ever did that. It's in a book, nobody did that ever. Often used with the buckler. Sorry, what are we doing? Trying to find me a mug, that'd be good. Ale would be excellent.
Ale, my lord.
Thank you very much.
Do you drop a knees?
It's not actually ale, it's still gin.
Needs mercy.
Sword and buckler. The earliest fight book that we've got, illustrated book that we've got, it was illustrated and drawn, written around 1300. And it's for a sword and buckler. You've all heard of swashbuckling? Yeah? Normally involves Johnny Depp nowadays for some reason. This is a buckler. This is the buckler bit of swashbuckling. In recent years, in reenactment, the swash bit has been cutting raindrops out of the way with a blunt sword. But it's dry today, it's good, we don't need to do that. But the sword and buckler system is a really sophisticated system for so early, and it really shows you, how to attack, how to defend from that attack, how to counter that defense, how to counter that. Should we show you? It's probably easier, isn't it? So, half shield? Yep. It's taking up probably the almost universal guard of half shield. I would counter that with a guard called underarm. And what I'm going to do, because I'm down low here, I'm going to simply attack into his leg, cut his femoral artery. There'll be 30 to 45 seconds of bright red splashing, and then I win. Okay? Of course, the defence to that is remarkably simple. It is simply step out of the way. Works well. The counter to that, of course, is I've stepped in here, I've attacked low, so my head's exposed. He attacks to my head. It's all right, there's another picture. I'm safe. It's fine. Don't worry. So, we attack in there, I see him, and I block, and then of course I can do whatever I like. But now I've made the mistake. I have separated my buckler and my sword hand. So now the counter to that is we go in, I go up, and he slips around and simply attacks my wrist. If you can't hold the sword, you can't attack. The buckler is there to protect your hand. Not this hand, this hand. If you're fighting, the nearest bit of you to your opponent is your hand. Why are they going to go around there? If they cut off a thumb, do whatever, you cannot hold the sword. So your buckler, if your sword is in front of you, your buckler is always there. So they can come down, they can slide, they can hit it, whatever, not a problem. If you have it slightly separated, that's bad news, because they slide straight down your sword and cut both your thumbs off, and that's embarrassing. Don't do that. Now you might wonder why we've got some women fighting here today. You know, why have we got? Yeah, you might be wondering that to yourselves. This book, written about 1300, fully illustrated. It's up at the Royal Armies. Make an appointment with them for their library. They'll get it out. You can have a look. They're very nice. I did. And the entire last chapter is depicted with a woman fighting. So we know this happens. She's called Walpurgis, so they've even got her own guard, Walpurgis Guard. So it's nice and compact. It's kind of, you know, almost boxery really, rather than this kind of right shoulder and underarm and hidden guard and all these. You know, it's a bit more relaxed. Obviously here, she's exposing a right shoulder. So I would take the guard off, hold the right shoulder, and simply step in and attack like that. She's a little girl, so I won't worry about the buckler thing, because we don't really need to, do we? So we simply step in like that, and she blocks with the buckler and rightfully attacks my forearm. Should we do that the other way around so people can see as well? And so I attack you like that, block with the buckler, and attack my hand. Dead easy. Now I'll do it correctly and protect my hand. So I come in with the right shoulder and use my buckler. Ow. Sorry. Oh, sorry. You're fine. It's only my neck. And she knocked her buckler against mine, literally trapping it against my sword, and then attacked my neck instead. Go away. We're on to long swords now then. Oh God, I don't have to shout for this bit. This is good. Excellent. I don't have to shout.
Okay, long swords. German long swords in this case. We have two assistants. Yep. Okay, for years we've been teaching this, and we've been showing this as a demonstration. Bonds. Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, you're going to
Don't worry, I'm gonna.
Which looks great, but actually doesn't represent a sword fight at all. Normally sword fights go over very, very quickly. 2 or 3 cuts, somebody's dead. So, fun. So assuming we're fighting like peasants, we haven't had a lot of learning. Most obvious thing to do, once you've sorted out who's going to attack who, you attack to the shoulder. So, attack to the shoulder. Adam will now hopefully block it. Yeah, a simple block to get your sword in the way. That's fine, they're both safe. I'm not actually going there with this, no one's got an advantage, so no one wins. So stepping away again, this time, as Bond attacks to the shoulder, Adam will... Okay, do the same thing again. if say, he put in a guard called an ox. Okay, now here we go. Now, at this point, Adam has got a chance. It's quite spiky. Yeah, put your spiky sword into Bond's face, neck, throat, whatever.
I like him.
Very quick fight.